Innovation is the only sustainable form of differentiation. Hi, welcome to another series of innovation news updates from NTT ComDD. My name is Hui Yung Seong. In this session, we will cover what is AI coding assistance together with some demos using one of the tools, which is called Codium. An AI coding assistant is a software tool or application that leverages artificial intelligence, AI techniques to assist developers in writing, editing, and optimizing code. It's designed to enhance the productivity and efficiency of developers by providing various automated features and intelligent suggestions throughout the coding process. Here are some key characteristics and functionalities of an AI coding assistant. Code completion. AI coding assistants offer intelligent code completion suggestions as developers type, predicting the next lines of code based on the context, previously written code, and commonly used patterns. This feature helps save time, reduce typos, and improve accuracy. Code generation and scaffolding. AI coding assistant can automatically generate code snippets or templates based on high-level descriptions or requirements provided by the developer. This feature helps in quickly scaffolding basic code structures or generating repetitive code segments. Next, error detection and debugging. AI coding assistant can analyze code in real time and detect potential errors, bugs, or vulnerabilities. They highlight problematic lines of code, offer suggestions for fixes, and provide explanations for error messages, helping developers identify and rectify issues quickly. Refactoring suggestions. AI coding assistants can provide recommendations for refactoring existing codes to improve its quality, readability, and performance. They can identify opportunities for code optimization, suggest alternative coding approaches, and assist in applying best practices and design patterns. Code search and documentation. AI coding assistant can search through extensive code repositories, documentation, and online resources to retrieve relevant code examples, usage patterns, and documentation snippets. This helps developers find answers to their coding questions and learn from existing codes. Contextual help and code explanations. AI coding assistant can provide contextual help and explanations for code snippets, APIs, and language constructs. They assist developers in understanding complex concepts, providing documentation references, and offering usage examples. The benefits of using AI coding assistant. With AI coding assistant, developers can code faster and smarter, reducing manual typing and repetitive tasks. AI coding assistants identify potential errors and bugs before they occur, improving code quality and minimizing debugging time. By suggesting coding standards and automating repetitive tasks, AI coding assistants help ensure that codes are consistently formatted and executed. Some examples of AI coding assistants include Codium, GitHub Copilot, Replit, Visual Studio IntelliCode, Tabnine, and Amazon Code Whisperer. These assistants use machine learning, natural language processing, NLP, and other AI techniques to provide intelligent coding support tailored to specific programming languages and development contexts. Next, let's look at some of the demo scenarios to help you better understand how can we make use of AI coding assistants. For the first one, we are going to write some Python code to make REST API call to Cisco APIC to list all the existing tenants and then configure a new tenant with the help of Codium Chat. Let me switch to Visual Studio Code now. What you see on the screen now is the Visual Studio Code, and I have the Codium extension installed. So in the Codium Chat, I can post my question here and the Codium Chat will help me to answer. So for example, I can say code for login to Cisco APIC 4.1 to list all tenants. So once the answer has been returned, we can actually browse through the sample codes provided and see whether we can use it. Okay, looks good. We can copy the entire sample codes and paste into our Python file. And as pointed out in the answer, you just need to replace the Cisco APIC IP address, username, and password accordingly. Let me change it now. Change the Cisco APIC IP address to the one in our lab, and then username and the password, and let's go through the rest of the codes. Okay, so there's another parameter to change. Okay, the rest of the code looks good, so let's run it now. All right, you can see that there is a list of tenants returned in the Python terminal console, and let's switch to the APIC controller. So we can see that this is the existing tenants in the APIC, and this is what has been written by our Python code. So you can see that with the help of Codium Chat, how quickly we can develop the necessary code to retrieve the list of tenants from Cisco APIC. And next, let's try to add a new tenant. I can post another question to the Codium Chat. Let's say add a new tenant. Okay, another sample code has been returned by the Codium Chat. We just need to extract the necessary part to configure the new tenant so we can start from here. I can say create new tenant. Okay, I can copy until here and replace the part that we print the tenant name. Change the APIC IP address. For the new tenant name, let's call it NTT-COM-DD tenant. Now let's verify that this tenant is not an existing one, that the NTT-COM-DD tenant is not in the APIC controller. Okay, it's not. So let's try to create it now. Okay, we can see that the tenant NTT-COM-DD tenant has been created successfully. Let's switch back to our APIC controller. Yes, so indeed we can see a new tenant has just been created by our Python code. So this is how easy we can write the Python code to make REST API call to Cisco APIC without referring to the API documentation, but with the help of the Codium Chat. All right, let me switch back to the slide now. For the second demo scenario, we are going to migrate all the VLANs in the NXOS device to the ACI as a bridge domain. So let's switch back to our Visual Studio Code. In the Codium Chat again, we are going to ask, for example, code to migrate NXOS all VLAN to ACI bridge domain. So the answer has been returned by the Codium Chat. Let me scroll up. Let me quickly browse through the code and see whether it's usable. Okay, so far looks good. Let me try to copy the relevant code into our Python script. We need to import the regular expression module, and then let's see what else that we need to add in. Okay, so this is the part, the VLAN output, and then iterate over each VLAN. I think we can copy until here. So we are going to replace the tenant creation code that we have just put in earlier with the new part. For this VLAN output, we are copying the sample. There are multiple ways we can actually log into the NXOS device, copy out and paste it here. Or we can actually establish a connection from the Python code to the NXOS device itself, and then retrieve the show VLAN output, and then proceed with the bridge domain creation in APIC. So let's take this as an example. This is the VLAN output that we would like to migrate from the NXOS device to Cisco ACI. Here I need to replace the APIC IP address NTT-COM-DD tenant. Okay, bridge domain name. So far looks good. Let me run it now. We can see that those are VLANs that have been migrated to Cisco ACI. So let me switch to the APIC controller and then go into our new tenant, and then let's expand the networking and the bridge domain. All right, we can see that 3 bridge domains have been created accordingly, 1, 10, and 20. So this is a mapping to the 3 VLANs that we migrate from Cisco NXOS over here. This concludes the second demo scenario for us to migrate the NXOS VLAN to ACI bridge domain with the help of Codium. Let's move back to PowerPoint. And for the third scenario, we are going to create a simple website again with the help of Codium Chat. So let me go back to Visual Studio Code. Since this is a new request, so let me clear the conversation. Okay, in the question tab, I can say, help me to code an attractive HTML page with navigation pane, for example. All right, so there is a sample code provided. We can copy it and then paste into our new HTML file, then save it, then copy the path and open it up in the browser. All right, you can see that a new website has been set up with some navigation pane on top. Let's say I would like to generate a page so that when the user clicks on the About, there's a page to be loaded. Let me switch back to Visual Studio Code and say, help to generate about.html page. Okay, so just copy the code and then create a new file. Call it about.html, paste it, save it, and then we shall make some changes on the index.html page on the About. So link it to about.html, save it, and let's reload our HTML page. And then we can click on the About page. This is the new About HTML page that we have just created. All right, so this is just some simple demo on how we can create a website with the help of the Codium Chat. Let's switch back to our slides right now. For the fourth scenario, we are going to write a number guessing game with the help of Codium. Now I'm going to show you another way to write the code using this Codium Chat. So you see there is a text box over here. I can actually type in my question. Write me a number guessing game and submit. So the AI tool will help me to understand my question and suggest the code required to develop the game that I asked for. Let me make the window bigger. At the end, it also comes with the description for the code suggested, so I can copy the code and just paste it and try to run it. Okay, so this is a simple game. Guess a number. So let me try with a number in between 50. Too low, so let me increase it to 75. Too high, lower down, maybe 65. Okay, I got it. You can see that the program ends when I manage to guess the number correctly. Again, this is how easy we can write a game using the chat function provided by Codium. For the fifth demo scenario, we are going to write some data patterns using the regular expression. As you know, the regular expression is something quite difficult to develop without further understanding on the pattern. So again, we are going to ask Codium to help us. Let me clear the previous code. So let's say I would like to write a regular expression to determine if a particular string is conformed to a date pattern. I can start by importing the regular expression module, and then let's say I create a variable called datePattern equals 2. So immediately you can see that the AI tool will help me to create the relevant regular expression. I just need to click the tab to confirm, and then the next is it will suggest a parse date. But what I need is a function to check the date pattern, so I can say isDate. Again, the AI tool can understand to take in the text or string parameter, and then it will help to return whether the input is actually matching the date pattern. And next I would like to do is to test some string or text if it matches the date pattern, so I can put a comment, say test isDate function. Okay, suggested by the AI tool. And again, another test case. Okay, another one. So I think 3 is sufficient. Let me run the program right now. You can see that the first is indeed a valid date, so it matches the date pattern. And the second one and the third one do not match, so you can see the value returned is none. From here, we can quite sure that the date pattern regular expression that we have just written is correct. This is how we can develop a regular expression quickly with the assistance of an AI tool. For the last demo scenario, we are going to cover the unit testing code development, and we are going to see how can we make use of the Codium to assist us in developing the required code. All right, let me clear the code again. In this case, I would like to, let's say, return the elements in both lists. So I can put a comment. Say return elements in both lists. Let's see what is suggested by the AI tool. Okay, it will help me to define a new function. Looks good. Okay, all right, so return this. Okay, I think this should help us to return the elements that exist in both lists. And next again, we can test it. So let me put a new comment to say, test this function called intersection function by print. Okay, it will help us to generate some dummy data, which is 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4. Looks good. And another set of test data, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's try it now. Okay, we can see that the data returned is correct. 2 and 3 exist in both lists, and for the second test data, 1, 2, 3 exist in both lists. Usually for unit testing, what we need to do is that we will use the assert keyword. So let me say test intersection function by assert. All right, again, it will help us to generate some dummy data using the assert keyword. Okay, let's proceed with these two sets of data. Okay, we don't see any error thrown by this assert, which means that these two test cases are valid. This is how we can write the unit testing code again with the help of the AI tool. All right, that's all the demo scenarios that have to cover for today's demos. Overall, AI Coding Assistant aimed to augment developers' capabilities, increase productivity, and facilitate the development process by providing automated suggestions, error detection, code generation, and relevant information at various stages of coding. That's all I would like to show in this demo. Thank you, and we shall see you on our next episode of NTT ComDD Innovation News Update.